starting off with the bag itself, it's made by Manfrotto. It's their off-road bag. I got a good deal on it. Manfrotto obviously make camera gear, so this is designed for that. However, I don't think that they're the best bag maker in the world. It has a padded camera insert with some Velcro separators which allow you to carry a large DSLR and at least a couple of lenses quite comfortably. The zips have really big loops on them which make them easy to do up. There's a pretty large compartment in the top that will allow you to carry at least a day's worth of stuff quite happily. And there's an integrated rain cover that I've used quite a few times. There's several pockets around the sides that allow you to carry bits and bobs and some straps to put tripods and various other things. But it's wearing out pretty easily and I haven't exactly been that careless with it. The shoulder straps aren't the most comfortable ones I've had in the world, and there's this weird quirk that all the straps seem to have a huge excess which just needs to be gathered up, and the belt buckle clips actually keep coming loose, so all the weight goes onto my shoulders, which also isn't ideal. If I'm going to go on a longer hike, then I've got a low pro bag, which is actually a hiking backpack, but it has a side compartment where the Manfrotto camera insert fits quite nicely. The tripod I'm now using is a three-legged thing, Billy. It's beautifully designed, it's super lightweight carbon fibre, and one of the legs actually comes off and becomes a monopod if you want to use that. The legs are twist locks, which is my preferred method. I just find it quicker to do. It has its own quick release plate, but it also accepts Arca Swiss, which is ideal. The ball head is strong enough, but if you've got a really heavy lens on there and you don't do it up tight enough, there is a risk that it can move, but that's my lookout. They do another head which is actually stronger and I might upgrade to that sometime. But on the whole, it's a great piece of kit. The camera I use is a Canon 5DSR. It came out a few years ago and it's essentially Canon experimenting with high megapixel cameras. It's 50 megapixel, which isn't completely necessary, but the amount of detail you can get in images is phenomenal. Obviously it's a DSLR, so it's a large bulky camera housing the mirror and all that. But it's essentially a 5D Mark III. So all the controls are exactly the same, and anyone familiar with Canon cameras will find their way around quite happily. It has a few bits of muck and dirt on there, but that's what make it mine. I have it mounted on a dead cheap L bracket, aluminium, custom made for the camera body itself. Weighs nothing, and it has a notch on the side which allows you to put a cable release in. When it comes to lenses, there's a couple that I carry with me all the time. The Nifty 50, it's made of plastic, it's super lightweight. f1.8, so you can get really shallow depth of field and capture some nice details. And then just for fun is the Holga lens. I made a video at Christmas where I took this one out, so you can go and watch that if you like. But then there are more serious lenses that I use for landscapes, and starting with my absolute favourite. The 70-200 is such a versatile lens and it's just great. I've got the f4L version, which is characterized by the red band around the front. No image stabilization because that just adds so much weight. But this lens is super sharp, it's really light for its size, and because I see the details in things, that tends to be what I'm more compelled to capture an image of. And this really lets you get in tight and capture the essence of what it is that you've got in front of you, and I absolutely love this lens and never leave the house without it. The wide angle lens that I use is the 17-40 f4L. Technically speaking, this lens is not sharp enough for a 50 megapixel camera, but to be perfectly honest, I've found that it's been perfectly good. Again, it's super light and it allows you to get that unique perspective that a super wide angle lens can offer you, with the versatility of having the zoom up to 40mm. I'm a fan of trying to capture the image that I've envisioned in camera, the reason being that I just feel that there's a greater sense of accomplishment when you do that, and to achieve that you really need to use some filters. One of the filters that I use most of the time is a circular polarizer. This one's from Dixon and it has many uses, from cutting the glare off water to making colours more saturated. To set the amount of polarization, it has these fiddly little wheels on the side, and if you've got big fingers it's not always that easy, but just a twist of those will rotate it to whatever you need. And to go with this, I've got the Dixon V5 100mm filter system, and it just clips onto the front of the circular polarizer and has 3 slots for various filters, which offers quite a bit of versatility. And then I've got rings which allow me to fit this to each of my lenses. The other filters that I have include a 10-stop neutral density filter, which allows a really slow shutter speed. This one's made by Format High Tech. I've had no issues with color casting or anything like that. The other main filters I use are ND graduated filters for balancing the sky and the land. I have a 1-stop, a 2-stop and a 3-stop, also made by Format High Tech. The ones I tend to have with me most of the time are soft grads, and they tend to be good in most situations. If I was doing more seascapes, I might consider getting hard grads. These ones are actually made of resin, and I guess they scratch more easily, but so far I haven't scratched them. They're really light and they get the job done. And I carry my filters around in a low pro pouch, which has a clip where you can put on your belt or onto your tripod. And it's got color-coded sections on the inside which allows you to find filters more easily. What I consider to be a really essential piece of kit is a cable release. This one's super cheap, super light, doesn't run on batteries, and allows you to lock it into place, which is great for long exposures and essential for capturing sharp images at the exact moment. But in the same vein, if you want to be able to capture that image, you've got to be able to make sure that you can keep your camera going, and I've got a few spare batteries, including Canon and third-party ones, which work just perfectly. I also carry around spare memory cards in this Neewer case, which is strong and waterproof. I have empty cards at the top, full cards at the bottom, so that I can find them easily. And I have various bits and pieces for keeping the lenses clean whilst out and about. And a portable charger to make sure that my phone battery is topped up in case I need it whilst I'm out. The weather app that I use is called Clear Outside. It's free and it has so much information, just go check it out. And for sunset and sunrise times I use Sun Surveyor. That's also free. It's like a pared down version of Photo Pills and starts up a lot faster than that does. And I have the OS Maps app too, but it's no replacement for paper maps, which I just love to look at and study and plan, and they don't run out of batteries. So that's what I have for landscape photography, but what do you actually need? You need a sense of adventure and a love of the outdoors, and the willingness to be out at any time and in any condition. And a camera might help, of course.